Chief Harry, you'll pray for me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for this opportunity to come here tonight and to gather and do the city's business. We just ask that you would help us all to have open hearts and clear minds and make the right decisions for the city. We thank you again for giving us this opportunity to serve. And we ask for all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Let's get started. We have minutes from the last two meetings. Y'all looked over those. Everybody looked good. Move approval. Motion by Commissioner Brazette, second by Commissioner Ashford. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 4-0. All right, Mr. Kennedy. We're gonna set a record tonight.
Good evening. You talked a lot faster than Mayor Bud. I know I have one agenda item. I'd like to mention a couple of things first, if that's okay. I guess all you know, everyone knows that the Auburn students have been in town since Sunday morning. And I want to commend that group. They have been fantastic, which is what I know about them. They've been all over town in Apalachicola. They were in the Sleeping Beauty and the Maddox House. And they've got one more day tomorrow, and they did a fantastic job. When they leave tomorrow, once the paint dries, we can move into Sleeping Beauty with our gift shop.
Right.
Done a fantastic job.
Jim, did we get those mowers from those students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so,
Yes, I talked to Commissioner Quinn on Friday, and they were going to pick them up on Saturday morning, so far as
okay.
Bill, I know you have more, but let me make a statement on the Auburn students. They unbelievable what these children are out doing for the people of our community. Everywhere I've been, you can go by a house that looks like it needs help. They're up there on roofs, young kids. They came by my house, I guess it was Sunday. They just wanted to introduce themselves. We all prayed together. Unbelievable group of children. And I tell you, I tip my hat to what they're doing. I do. It's unbelievable that these children take time out of their life, college, to come down here and spread the word of God. Not only that, do good for others. And I want to say that.
Also, just a FYI, Phase 5 landscaping is underway in front of the Dollar General on 98 right there. They've already cut everything down. I think plants are coming this week, so they're in a fast track. Doing a great job so far.
That's good.
Yeah. And then the agenda item I had tonight was in our last PSGRA meeting, we talked about letting the folks from the Turtle Center come into Sleeping Beauty and share the space with the Historical Society. And I know from the very beginning the Historical Society has been going to be the Sleeping Beauty from day one. And you guys voted as a PSGRA to allow the Turtle folks to come into the Sleeping Beauty. And I thought we should make it official tonight, if that's going to happen, before we move forward with that effort. And Jessica's here tonight. She sent me a text message with a nice graphic image for the back door of Sleeping Beauty. And it hit me at that point that it never came to this board. So I want to bring that up tonight and see what you guys thought about making that official or not.
Yeah.
I talked to Miss Charlotte after the meeting, and there were concerns of them having room for storage. I suggested to Miss Charlotte at that time to maybe her and Jessica get together. I do want to make this a temporary, not only for the Historical Society, but also for the Turtle Foundation or group that we've got together. It won't be fair for either one to have to share. They need more room bill. I know some people have thrown out there the idea of let's renting the Eglin house out. I think right now I'd like to see, let's try to get that Eglin house together, eventually move the Turtle people over there so that the Historical Society has the whole place. But temporarily, while that house is working, I'd like to let's move forward with at least letting them have the kitchen. And then Charlotte and Jessica get together, work out, they've gotta have storage in there too. And I want them to be able to have some storage area too. But I'm all in favor with what we did before, I just wanna make it a point that this is temporary. That we're gonna move, whether it be, whatever we have to do, it's gonna be on a temporary basis. That's all
I got a call from, Ms. Charlotte. I think let's let her and Jessica sit down and work out the details.
I'd be happy to sit down with her or anyone else and let's talk through it.
You know,
Yeah, I think, I remember when we got the lighthouse down there and all the keepers quarters, we turned that over to the Historical Society. It's basically theirs. And they're in charge of doing what, I mean, we could force them to do whatever we want. I do know that, but and I had reservations in the beginning about, and I think I voiced it in our meeting, I didn't want, you get two groups in one building, I didn't want to start, you know, squabbles over space.
Sure.
And I really don't want to do that, so my recommendation is not take formal action and let Jessica and Charlotte, sit down and see what they look at.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that too, but I would like to add to that is at no time do I ever remember us handing everything over to the Historical Society as Commissioner just said. I don't remember doing that. I do know in conversation that they had first dibs on, the Historical Society had first dibs on, once they moved out of the Mattis house, moving over to the, Sleeping Beauty. And that's the way I think it should be. But there's been no agreement put together or anything at this time. We need to bring as much into that area as we can, draw as many people as we can to that, so that we can make it broader, bring more money into it. And eventually, I'd like to see us build something over there underneath those pines for a turtle center / wildlife marine type situation.
Sure.
And I agree with, Rex on the one thing he said is that, let's give it 2 weeks and let Jessica and, Charlotte sit down and talk, see what they work out.
Sounds like a good plan. Just so we're all on the same page, just a couple things I want to mention about that. As far as Edlin goes, I think right now that we are currently in the money for a grant, unless it gets vetoed.
Unless Governor Scott redlines that we were recommended for the $125,000.
so that's,
Well, that's it's good news, bad news.
right.
If we get the grant, the remaining funds in our budget will be redirected, okay? Because the grant's got specific items in it. And long story short, that puts Edlin out to like March of 2017, actually both of them out 2017 be fully completed. But it's a good thing. We have the funds to complete them, but the timeline stretches out. If we don't get the grant, I think the idea was to go back into Sleeping Beauty and kind of do all we can do, would include the AC and the restroom and other things.
Yeah, I don't want to see it go that far. I mean, are you saying that we wouldn't be able to do anything if this grant comes through and then not be able to finish up until 2017 on everything? Or
No,
can we
what
put those funds into it all along?
What I'm saying is we can't do work now that's part of the grant until, I think, late fall, roughly.
So you can't reimburse.
You can't reimburse. You've got to be at some point before you can do that work, which the grant had line items in it that we can't. We've done some of that work, but not enough to get in trouble, okay? With our budget, we've done some of that work, but there's still a lot of work that's in that grant that we want to be careful not to overlap the bounds of the grant and use that and make sure we get that money. We can almost complete or get very close to completing both houses with the grant and our budget.
Let's let them sit down and come back in 2 weeks and see where we're at. If they get the details, we're out. Charlotte and Jessica sit down.
If Jessica would call me at City Hall, or we could possibly meet on site and go over what each other is
You wanna meet
thinking.
with them, Bill, and see what-
I would be glad to be part of it.
Okay.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Bill, what is the time frame on moving that one room from the Maddox house over and the gift shop moving it over there?
Tomorrow, the Auburn students are supposed to finish painting, which would be the floor in Sleeping Beauty. At that point, we can move.
I would think that it would behoove them all to meet after it's all set up.
identify some manpower. And we can move the contents over, that'd be great, because we're also trying to get the Maddox house finished up, and it's virtually, once the shower stall comes in, I mean, the painting looks fantastic in the kitchen and bathroom down there, so.
Right.
Once we get the stuff out of Maddox house too, that opens us up for that revenue stream. Any questions or anything?
Thanks, Bill. Mr. Attorney?
No update on Stone Drive. Ordinance 523 is on the agenda for second reading and adoption. That's our capital improvement plan update.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Discussion, second for discussion. I think, Tom, last meeting, I talked about an item or two that was on the CIP, and I'd like to see, under recreation, the Centennial Building is slated for budget year, gosh, that's fine print, but I think it says 2019-20. I would like to move that up to 2018-19. I'd really like to move it to 17-18, but we're so close to starting our budget for that cycle. I don't know if that would put us in a bind, Jim, or what.
So you want to move it to 18, 19?
Well, I'd like to move 17-18 if it's possible, if it wouldn't put us in a bind.
Jim, what it do to us to move it to 17, 18, because I think the key there is we're trying to get those leaks stopped, and then we want to move forward. Hopefully by the time 17, 18 comes around, we'll have that part of it finished up. Would it hurt us to?
I don't think so. I think that would be fine to slide that thing up. The key things you want to do is in your CIP plan, the first 2 years, you want to try to have dedicated funds. 3, 5, you should be fine. It's an earmark to try to secure funding.
So it's not going to hurt.
Okay. Well, do we agree on that? I need to make a motion for that change.
You need to include that change in the motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Thursday.
And my motion is to include that moving the Stack House into 2017-18.
Where is that? Is that under,
Where's the stack house?
I don't see it. I don't think it's on the CIP. Centennial.
Did I say Stack House?
Yeah.
I didn't mean Centennial. I mean Stack House. Don't help me out over here, trying.
So the motion is to
Move to 17, 18?
Yes, on the Centennial. Not the Stack House.
okay, I'll second
All in favor, say aye.
that.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 4-0.
Ordinance 523, an ordinance of the city of Port St. Joe, Florida, amending the capital improvement elements of the comprehensive plan, amending the 5-year capital improvement plan, adopting the updated school district 5-year work plan, providing repeal of all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right.
Move, we need to adopt.
Move for adoption.
Move and adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Glenn, second by Commissioner Thurman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 4-0. Motion passed.
That's all I have unless there are questions.
Is that it, Mr. Turner?
That's all I've got, yes.
Mr. Tanner?
Yes, sir. The first item I have is the Patton Park lots. Good news, we have 2 more lots under contract. Front 2 lots are under contract at full price at $110,000 apiece. So we're hoping to close those in the middle of next month.
Yeah, can I make a comment on that? I just wanted to bring it up to City Attorney Tom Gibson that we got that extra money, and if we'd let you price them, we'd lost $45,000, Tom.
And I remember who chimed in on those prices, and I appreciate your help.
Okay, I just not trying to say nothing. I just want to bring it up.
You weren't trying to say anything.
That's all I'm trying to say. Thanks, Tom.
The next item we have is the City Hall facade improvements. At the last meeting, staff was directed to see about doing some facade improvements to City Hall. If you'll flip over to your manila folder, we do have an update to the one that was actually put in the package. There was an error in the quote that was presented from Bob's Top Shop. If you'll look at it, the correct price of the quote is actually $3,465. That would include 3 awnings, one directly in front of City Hall, main door, one on each side.
Guys, I'd like to make a recommendation that we approve this with, maybe some tweaking from staff and any suggestions that they want to be made or tweaking to this that we may want to do, make a suggestion, go ahead and move forward with the bid. I think it'll make a lot of difference in the way it looks. This isn't really something that I'm set out to do, it's just something to make it look better. So anything y'all got you want to add to or take away, feel free to.
You wanna make a motion to that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve this. Yeah, and let's do that up to $4,000, you know, if need to be for anything.
Where are we gonna take that from, Jim?
We got a couple different options with it only being $3,400. We could pull that under admin at City Hall if we wanted to, or we've got some extra money
Do
to
you
apply.
have it in admin, or, I mean, do we need to?
It does, we can figure that out. If
Okay.
y'all give us approval, we can.
All right.
figure it out.
Motion, Commissioner Thurman,
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve.
have a second? All in favor? All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 4-0.
The next item is the discussion we've had the last few weeks in reference to fracking. The legislature, it actually died in the Senate, so they are not planning. So it's pretty much dead for the year. They may take it up again next year, so you definitely want to keep it on the radar and discuss it. But at this point, the legislature's not moving forward on it.
Tom, what's your take on it?
I think that for the city, given our proximity to the shoreline and the fact that there's not really any land available where somebody can come in and do it, it's not a big issue within the city limits. Now, to the extent that we can influence county or surrounding counties with letting them know what y'all think about the issue, that maybe has some value.
Tom, is it true that you can't frack anywhere within a mile?
That's my understanding of the law right now.
My only concern, once again, as I said last meeting, was that our water source comes from that area. Everywhere they want to frack, it's gonna affect the whole river.
There was an article in the Specified, which is a magazine that I get, that said that Neil Land and Timber is actually requesting some seismic studies to be done in Jackson, in Calhoun, in Upper Gulf, and it's not Bay County, but it's 3 different counties which surrounds the whole
I
river.
think
So
Jackson had passed it.
y'all
Local
might
ordinance
want
that they
to
were not gonna let them
take a
frack.
look at that and see what they're doing in the surrounding counties, which surrounds our potable water river source.
I would say, I would like us to take a strong stance
But they've already applied to DEP for
Against it,
permits to do the seismic
just
testing.
for
which is just
nothing
won't
but
run into
to
fracking.
back up the Gulf County.
So what, would it hurt us in any way for us to go ahead and adopt it, even if we don't call in there, maybe we'll set the precedence for, follow along with this, what do you guys think?
They can take away that 1 mile from the coast rule at
There
any
you go,
time.
and
So
at least we'd
it's-
have it already in there.
Won't we table it to the mayor, but?
I think he's gonna do this.
Can we?
I'm just kidding.
Can we put this on the agenda for that joint? I think
Yeah.
Well,
it's
that
gonna
was
be
my
more-
question was, the county may already have some of the blankets our jurisdiction already. I'm not sure. I don't know if the county's taking up this issue or not.
I think Ms. McElroy said last week that they had not.
They've not taken it up. Okay.
Bay County has it. Bay County, I do believe Franklin County have already set,
I think Jackson County did too, because of the smaller river basin, because of the water.
and so, and I know that we've already had some people, in the north part of the county that were interested. So I think if you wanna look like you're
We can do that.
Let's do that.
We put it on the agenda for our next meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
The next item we have is in reference to the Stackhouse flooring. To reiterate what Mr. Kennedy said, the college students from Auburn have been a tremendous help. They've been working the past 3 days over the Stackhouse, so it's coming along. We've got a lot of work to do. We budgeted roughly $13,000 for this next year to make improvements over to the Stackhouse. If you'll flip over to page 26 and 27, we put the quotes in we had last year. We've got a wide spectrum of things we could do. We're trying to figure out, we got $13,000. What's the best bang for our buck to make some improvements there? Mr. Grantland actually got in another quote today for the vinyl. What was the quote that you got?
That was 6,800.
6,800. So that's in the middle of the road. We have carpet. That's the cheapest thing, a little over $3,000. You can go up to 16 or 18 depending on how nice the flooring you put in. Now, with the linoleum, there's also work that's got to be done. The subfloor's got to be brought up, and I think John was indicating too.
Somewhere around the $2,000, $2,500 mark for
For the
subfloor.
For the
So
subfloor.
we're up to 8,000, 9,000.
Yeah. So we're trying to.
CVT, commercial vinyl, commercial vinyl.
Well, again, because we weren't really sure what direction we were gonna go, and we kind of picked a mid-grade type, linoleum.
Oh, you're talking about roll vinyl.
Well, or plank. I mean, there's a lot of different options.
Okay.
A lot of different options, so we just did sort of the middle of the road at this point, like.
I don't believe carpets, even though it's,
It is cheaper, but I talked to the girls that worked there last year, and I mentioned carpets because I thought, well, if we spent $4,000, then we get plenty of money to do other stuff. And boy, they were just dead set against it. They said, the amount of drinks that are spilled in here every day, the accidents that happen, we can't mop it up. And
We need to look a little further than that, come back to the next meeting.
do we have time to go?
Well,
What do you think?
I mean, I feel like we do. I guess really tonight, if you could help us out, kind of determine what it is you think you're looking at, so we can get the field narrowed
Is
down.
it like a commercial vinyl?
Vinyl type.
Vinyl flooring, maybe a commercial type grade, something thick, heavy. I don't know, John.
And that very well may be what he quoted us on.
It may be.
Mid-grade, so.
And this is above our bid threshold again, so that's the thing with the time frame on there. So if y'all can narrow it down, as to what, sound like y'all want to go in the middle of the road, something, a nice quality, but not,
Yeah, we
way
don't
off.
want to go top of the line, it's a good, nice quality.
John, how much of this work can we do on our own? I see a lot of install and installing corner around.
Well,
tear
and
up.
the subflooring and all of that, we had planned last year to try to tackle ourselves. Granted, we're not, flooring people, we're not contractors, so we do a lot of stuff, but it's sort of new territory for us. So we'll do absolutely as much as we can.
I guess Jimmy can do a lot of that.
We'll have, Jimmy will probably be lead, we'll have a lot of folks on it, so.
All right.
So if this is direction you're kind of leaning in, basically it sounds like tonight, and what we need is approval to go ahead and bid out just a mid-grade vinyl in there. That way we can go ahead and do some planning and get you back some hard numbers.
You need a motion?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion that we go out for a mid-grade type vinyl flooring for the Stackhouse.
Well,
Yes, right, in a second.
motion by Commissioner Thurman, second by Commissioner Ashford.
discussion. Clarify that to say vinyl tile. Somebody could quote us on roll vinyl or something. I don't think
You
we
want the
want
blanks?
that.
You want the blanks?
Planks or squares or,
I'm open, again, this is, whatever the board, what direction you like.
because if you have roll vinyl that's 4 feet wide or whatever, and you damage a piece of it, it's hard to.
Well, I don't know now, not trying to correct you, but a roll of vinyl is 20 foot, so you can get a 20-foot length.
Well,
If there's damage though.
So I'm saying we should bid out a vinyl plank, a square, whatever, and not roll.
We have a motion from Commissioner Thurman. Yes. Second by Commissioner Ashford. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same, like sign. Motion passed for what?
The next item we have is in reference to our joint city-county meeting scheduled for next Wednesday, the 23rd at 3 o'clock. If you will, give me any items that you want to discuss, and I'll try to talk to Mr. Butler to set you an agenda for next Wednesday.
I guess what we want to add now, the bracket, let's discuss that, go ahead and do that.
Have we got the sign
The next item we have is in reference to Mexico Beach PSJ water source. Commissioner Zed had it on the last meeting. We're gonna talk to you tonight.
I'll keep talking to you until we maybe get it done. But I've been, talking to, the mayor of Mexico Beach. They're very interested in partnering with us to, be their emergency alternative water source. They're gonna work on it from their end. At some point in time, I think we'll have to get, either have a workshop with them, or I get with Larry and John, and I don't know Lynn, if we'll get it done that quick. But if she's still here, we'll get with Lynn and try to work through it, see what we can do. And at some point in time, if it works out well, I'd love to sell Mexico Beach water. So that's my plan.
All right.
On the new business, the first item we have is the Fair Housing Workshop. Mr. Bruce Ballister's here tonight.
Evening, Commissioners. I'll try to keep this real short. You've all been through one of these workshops, information workshops before. It is a requirement of the CDBG process. Provides all the money for the CDBG program, and they want to make sure that every recipient community follows fair housing practices. This workshop is advertised to the realty and banking professionals through direct email, thanks to the Chamber's efforts. The act is fairly simple, that anybody engaged in renting, selling, or in the process of financing housing to any individual, not discriminate against anybody with regard to race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and or the presence of children. There are obviously, as you know, a few exceptions to that rule. Anybody who lives in their own quadruplex can rent to whomever they want. They have 5 units. They have to follow the rules. Some housing that caters to 55 and up can have that stipulation honored. But I've given you the basics of the act, and the handout that I gave you. It's a pretty standard synopsis of the rule in the statutes. The city is designated as a fair housing community, and we say so on your website, and most of our ads that I publish at least indicate that the city is a equal opportunity fair housing community. And I think that's true the way things have been going. I plan a workshop with the professionals specifically in one of their trainings that they're going to be having for professional credits in May. So I know a lot of them aren't here, but I'll fix them. If you have any questions about any of the intricacies, I'd be happy to ask or answer those questions this evening, or take it down and get answers to you. I know there are some tricky what ifs, but they've been around a long time. All the what ifs are covered. So I don't want to extend your meeting longer than you need.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce.
If you'd like, I could read this to you. I know it pretty well.
That's all right.
I've given the spares that I brought down with me to Charlotte to keep at City Hall. They can be kept on the bench or some other accessible spot for anybody that has a question. I think she is our designated fair housing coordinator. One of the new rules in CDBG is the city has to have a designated fair housing coordinator. And I know she'd have a lot of hats on her head, but in order to do that, you'd like to give that to somebody else. There is a stipulation that that person take a short training that's online. You don't have to travel anymore. Used to be you had to go to one of their annual workshops in some other part of the state. Now you can go through the training online. So, your pleasure, whether that is Ms. Charlotte or one of her assistants. I need a fair housing coordinator.
Ms. Charlotte, are you already?
I think we have been handling it.
Do we need a motion?
You okay with
I think it's,
continuing? Or just leave it?
whatever we need to do, we will do.
Do we need a motion? Or just let it?
If you already have
Just the consensus. Okay.
Yeah,
It wasn't hurt, but I think
Ms. Charlotte, keep doing this because
Just got any questions for me?
Any public?
Not necessarily, so just an informational session for meeting on.
Right.
Mr. Ballister, how are we doing with the application for the CDBG?
I'm moving application from the old forms to the new forms now, to making sure that as I go through the stipulations, that none of the rule changes have caught us up. So I don't want to turn the same thing we had last summer and miss something new as I should have done.
So the applicant is due, is it April the 25th is when the,
Something like that. Yes, sir.
so we're looking all right?
Looking good for it.
Thank you, President.
Thank you very much.
Next item we have is in reference to a letter of support request from Mr. Danny Bolding. Mayor Patterson want to talk to you tonight about that.
You want to table that to
It's entirely up to the board.
Tom, if you look into that some,
Oh, just a little bit. I think we need some more information before we can.
We'll go with it.
Well, wait, the mayor's
I
here.
think we're all on board, but we don't really know a lot about it because Bill and, Bo were the ones at the meeting, correct?
Right, and I think it also, it may be in your redevelopment agency capacity that you need to look at that before it comes to the city commission. So we're still doing our homework.
Okay.
This is taking that.
Good deal.
The next item is a poem written by Mr. Kenneth Frame. I think he's here tonight.
Good evening. Mayor, city commissioners, everyone in their respective places. My name is Pastor Kenny Frame. I am the newly elected pastor for the historical church in Mount Carmel, Missionary Baptist Church, which is located on Avenue D. And it is a pleasure to meet each and every one of you this evening. Amen. I'm also an author. I write books of poetry. And what I did was I chosen 50 cities in the United States of America to write a poem about those cities. I started out with my first poem with the city of Tallahassee, which is now their official poem, and also the poem for the city of Quincy and Chattahoochee, which is also now their official city poem. And I've chosen Fort St. Joe as one of those poems to be in the book. This book is called The Places We Call Home. It will be in every major airport and also in the hotels. So anybody that picks up this book will know about Fort St. Joe. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. You did a great job.
I wanted to share this poem with you, and I'm hoping tonight that you would adopt this poem as your official poem for your city. I call it Fort St. Joe Love. The breeze is blowing as the palm trees sway, as the sun is rising to birth a new day. Yes, this city has fabulous taste, and it's sure to bring a smile to your beautiful face. Fort St. Joe is something to see, a city of class with much history, with awesome beaches and white crystal sands, for this coastal environment is the best in the land. For the beauty of this place will capture your soul, and our citizens who live here are more valuable than gold. As the birds fly in the midst of the rain, our city love whispers your name. And we grafted your smile in our heavenly moon, because we look forward to seeing you again very soon. So come to our city and walk on our beach, and enjoy the gentle breeze in the southern heat. For the love of this city can't be beat, as the sailboats pass on the horizons of life, making your view a spectacular sight. Fort St. Joe is such a beautiful place, a city of honor with royal taste. There's no other city I'd rather be than in Fort St. Joe, with a big cool glass of sweet iced tea and enjoying the cool panhandle breeze. Our southern hospitality is our quality. So tee off on the green and hit the ball away. For St. Joseph's Bay Country Club is a great place to play. Our Constitutional State Park is an awesome place. A museum of artifacts that's there on display. A steam locomotive that will brighten your day. For this is a vital part of our history, and this is a city where your mind can be free. So drive downtown and park your car, and visit our shops and browse our stores. For our Bayside florist has gifts and more. So come to Ronnie B's Steakhouse and grab a bite to eat. For the food is so good, you will jump out your seat. The no-name cab will blow your mind. And Joe Mama's wood fried pizza is right on time. Or just rent a cabin and lay on the beach. Or just take a walk on our clean, safe streets. For our city has awesome, courteous police qualified, trained to do the job right, and our sheriff's department is dynamite. So our guests can feel safe and comfortable at night. Our decommissioned lighthouse is loved so much because it's truly been blessed by the ocean's touch. So take a safari and tour this town, and the Seahorse Water Safari is the best around. They will take you to the edge of time with snorkeling and fishing that will blow your mind. Happy Hours and kayak and bike outposts will treat you just right, for their customer service is out of sight. So come to Fort St. Joe and walk in the light, where the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church is a beautiful place, a spirit-filled church with a touch of grace that's sure to bring a smile to anyone's face. So come and visit us and be our guest, and our Southern hospitality will do the rest. Located 300 Avenue D, and on Sunday mornings is the right place to be. So have a nice day, and when you leave this place, and always remember to put a smile on your face. Use your seatbelt if you're driving home, and please take a copy of our city love.
Thanks, sir.
Good job.
Y'all wanna look over that?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful form. The only thing I get a little hesitant on is promoting one over another. We've got a Chamber of Commerce full of good restaurants and so forth, and for us to adopt it and recognize a few of those, we're gonna have a problem. So,
Do you think you can tweak that for us a little bit, maybe without the, I love it, but I don't want, man.
Well, unfortunately, the book is already printed. And me not being from here, I had to research different restaurants.
Okay.
And I just picked what I thought would be quality restaurants for your area, like I do with most of mine.
I think we should look at it a little further.
I just be perfectly honest, Reverend, I can see a spot in here we might could just stop and it would be a wonderful thing for our city. But when we get into the country club and the florist shop, and we got 2 florist shops, and we get into 2 or 3 restaurants, and we got a lot of good restaurants, it's gonna be a problem for us as a city to adopt this as an official poem, I think.
What I'd like to see you do, Reverend, even though it's been already published in a book, that's fine, but maybe if you could get to one where it's to the part where we're talking about the businesses, just maybe find a place that we can adopt that part of it.
Well, what I can do, I can write another, take those parts out of the book.
Right, and
That you can keep for, just for here for the city.
yeah, that's what I'd like to see, and
Sure.
I'd like to see a copy of it on the wall at City Hall, but I don't wanna advertise to anybody, it would be a big trouble.
All right.
Yeah, let's discuss, let's be honest, he's been writing poetry for a long time, he lives here.
Yeah,
Well, I will do this with you. I'll leave a copy of my book with you.
Okay.
So much.
thank you,
sir.
sir, and we do
Appreciate you reading that poem.
And I do.
Yes, sir.
On April the 17th, we will be sponsoring a first responders program here in the city of Fort St. Joe. We will have several law enforcement agencies from all over the state to come out, and we are going to honor the tremendous service that they do in this community, not only in this community, but surrounding communities in the state of Florida. And we would like to invite the city commissioners to come to that event, which we held at our church. We do have a reward to present to the city, so someone could show up at that event.
What's that date, Patrick?
It's going to be April the 17th at 11 o'clock in the morning.
11 o'clock.
Yes,
And where would that be?
sir.
Mount Carmel.
Yes.
Thank you again, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the next item we have is tobacco-free parks contain playground equipment. Commissioner Ashbrook want to talk to you tonight about it.
Yes, Kerry Williams from the health department came by to speak with me a little bit about potentially tweaking our city ordinance to include no smoking with any park that has playground equipment. And she here today.
Terry,
Yes,
right here.
Terry, what's going on?
Did you bring Carson with you?
Is it from secondhand smoke?
As you know, and she's been in communications with y'all, but she's our new coordinator. Ms. Carrie Williams is our new coordinator for the Gulf County Tobacco Prevention Program. So my name's Sarah Hines, and I'm here to talk on her behalf. So in a little bit, I'm going to actually ask one of our students working against tobacco youth, Miss Madison Burkett, to speak more about this issue. She has some important areas that she'd like to cover with you all. The specific ordinance that we're referring to is ordinance number 503. And as it currently stands, all city-owned and operated parks are tobacco-free only during league activities, with the exception of the 10th Street Ballpark. And this is tobacco-free at all times. And in the ordinance, e-cigarettes are currently included, which is great. But Miss Madison, she's a SWAT leader, believe it or not, 5th grade student. You're going to be amazed. And she'd like to further explain our new proposal on behalf of her peers and the Gulf County Tobacco Free Partnership. So, Ms. Madison?
My name is Madison Burkett, and I'm a SWAT student, which stands for Students Working Against Tobacco, and we are asking for an ordinance for all city-owned and operated parks with playground equipment to be free from smokeless tobacco products and e-cigarettes. We are also asking for a resolution for those same parks to be smoke-free. SWAT understands that there are some city-owned and operated parks that are located on other public properties such as the Centennial Building and Frank Pate Boat Ramp that normally do not have a lot of children. These public properties could be excluded, but the park locations could remain included. This is important to me because I have severe asthma. I and many other kids like me would like to play at the park without the fear of having an asthma attack from breathing people's secondhand smoke. Asthma is the #1 cause of ER visits. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. You did good.
Do we need a motion to
What we
amend
need
the
is,
ordinance?
we need a direction to give staff to bring it back to you, the ordinance on there. We need to change it and bring it back to you for
We
adoption.
just want to amend that ordinance.
We need to amend it, but I do feel that she's probably nailed it. About the boat ramp and that type of stuff.
Yeah, but I think any park that has playground equipment on it, that would exclude the boat ramp. It doesn't have it. Frank Bay Park does.
Right.
Centennial Building does, but I think the Centennial Building proper itself would be exempt. And so I think they hit it right on the head.
Are these signs?
Now, the ordinance is important for the smokeless and e-cigarette specific focuses, but what Ms. Madison talked about is the resolution and how it's important, just as important really. And so what Ms. Carrie Williams is passing out are possible signage opportunities that you can display
The
from
city
the
of
resolution
Gainesville
that
actually adopted last year.
which is referencing smoke-free parks.
Yeah, I mean, I make a motion that we pass a resolution to reflect that most of the city property that has children playing, and I'll sue her now. Let her discuss it. Just a minute, hold on. And I pass a resolution, or wish we'd adopt a resolution supporting this tobacco-free zone in the city as indicated by their request of any parks. We've already got one ordinance that covers everything else, but we'll include the parks that have playgrounds equipment on them. That's the motion to adopt the resolution as second.
Any discussion? Ms. Lady, you got something?
Yes, I was wondering if that also includes Peters Park.
I think it'd be.
If it has playground
It does, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
want to make sure that we're not being excluded.
No, it's any city park.
You wanna smoke down there, Miss Lee?
I haven't smoked a cigarette since I was young.
I have a motion by Commissioner Brazette, second by Commissioner Ashbrook. Discussion.
And I've talked with Carrie about this. The legislature, in its wisdom, has passed a law that says that local government cannot regulate smoking. It's part of the Clean Indoor Air Act, which would lead you to believe that we couldn't regulate smoking inside. But the Attorney General says we can't regulate smoking anywhere. And what I have, and there's some controversy about that. There was a bill in the legislature this last time to fix that. It didn't pass. But what I suggested to Kerry is that we go ahead and do this anyway. Certainly, we can regulate all kinds of smokeless tobacco. We can regulate e-cigarettes.
Right.
But you can't regulate cigarettes.
And if we do it by resolution where you say, let's go ahead and put these signs up in the parks, you're gonna get a lot of compliance. And so I think that's a way to go. We'll ask forgiveness after,
Let's go. We have a
if
motion
can't get
and a second.
permission.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you very much.
The next item we have is in reference to water plant security. Commissioner Ashbrook, we're going to talk to you tonight about it.
Yeah, I've been out a couple of times to the water plant and, just been able to walk right through the front door and look around, walk up to the control room. I think it would be a great idea if we had some kind of gate mechanism that they could type in a code to get in and out of work. It would give me a warm and fuzzy, and I think that, it was asked before, Larry, right? You requested this twice.
With the former city manager.
Okay.
So and we probably will have that in the wastewater plant.
Yeah, we have automatic gates, we have
Right.
cards.
Right.
And I would like, I know it's under new business, so I won't ask for a vote, but I would like to have staff look into what it costs to put up a more secure fence around our water plant.
That's a great idea.
The next item we have is in reference to, retirement of Ms. Charlotte Pierce. Ms. Pierce will, according to FRS, be retired at the end of the month. If you'll turn to your mail folder, there's a handout there for the payout of sick leave and annual leave for Ms. Pierce.
Move we approve it, based on our city policy.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Brazil, second by Commissioner Durbin. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion passed 4-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The next item we have is in reference to two fee waiver requests we have for you tonight. The 8th grade class and the Coastal Conservation Association. Both of them want to utilize the Centennial Building.
What did we end up deciding?
If it's, a 501c3 nonprofit that is not there raising money for their organization, that we approve it.
Okay.
Approve waiver. If they were there raising money, the organization, library, Humane Society, or this, it's $100. So I make a motion we approve the waiver request for the 8th grade and deny the Coastal Conservation Association. My motion.
I'll second that with discussion. I feel the same way. I think that, if the general public is allowed to attend the event, at no charge, that's a benefit to all citizens. I'm not gonna ask citizens that don't necessarily support the organization to pay tax dollars to heat and cool, that building. And that's how I'm gonna vote. Sometimes it hurts, but, I can't just give it away. I'm not gonna spend your money on it.
So that motion is to approve the 8th grade waiver and deny the motion by Commissioner Brazil, second by Commissioner Ashford. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, like sign.
I'm gonna oppose it, but I'm gonna oppose it because I'm for giving them all a fee waiver request. Because I believe it belongs to the people of our community. But I appreciate y'all agree with the 8th graders.
Okay, motion passed, 3-1.
All right. The only other thing I have is, next week, Highway 71 and 98, for the holiday weekend, we plan to, put in fresh pine straw. It's gonna be sprayed, so we're gonna try to make town look really good next week.
Great.
Thanks.
Mr. Grant?
Real quick, Mr. Mayor. Just
Just a quick update on the boardwalk sewer, project we kicked off. Both Florida Avenue and boardwalk are complete. We'll be transitioning over into Pebble Beach, next week. Anticipate, 3 or 4 days turnaround down that road, and, the project will be ready. Sort of waiting the next step, which we'll have coming to you guys probably in a couple of weeks, with the tapping machines for the mouth. Just trying to, that'll be a piece of it if we, go that route. So that project's been along real well. Press Mill lift station is in. We anticipate as soon as we get the permit in hand, it could be as early as the first of next week, we'll be installing LCs and trying to get that thing going. So, we've got, as you guys are well aware of, a lot of projects hanging on out there. Boardwalk, Press Mills, Highway 98, 71, water improvements. I could go on and on, but we're stretched out till August, September. Well, we are.
Thanks, John. Larry?
Yeah, just want to let you know the live system, pre-payment live system is up and running now. We have got it going now.
Great.
Software done, or we're still?
Yes, sir, we finally got it done.
Good.
How's that new operator? Travis doing good?
Oh, and the chief operator, he's
Yeah.
done a great job.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Larry? Thank you. Ms. Lynn?
I have one thing tonight, did you get it on the agenda?
Yes, it is on the agenda.
I have a 1990 70 horse Johnson motor that I'd like y'all to declare surplus. It's be real good for an artificial fishing boat, and that's about all it's good for. Scrap metal, it's about, we just
We need a
sell
motion.
it to our scrap guy. Get rid of it. We did take the stainless prop off.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion from Commissioner Thurman, second by Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion passed forward.
That's all I have. That's just
Clay here?
He is not. I did talk to him earlier today. He wanted to mention a couple of things with the golf cart crossing. The application has been resubmitted, so they are working diligently to get that approval, but they haven't heard anything back on that. Also talked to Mr. Philip Jones today. He had spoken with FDEP. The loan doc should be sent out to the city this week for consideration on the wastewater lagoon study, so that should be coming within this week or next week.
Code enforcement?
I didn't see.
Chief? I'll be above the record.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of quick things. I don't know if any of you have seen this week's Star, but there's an article in there in the paper about the police department being a certified safe place facility. And we are, everyone at the police department, all our officers, myself, and our secretary have been through safe place training. We've got a sign out at some point, Mr. Grant can hang on the wall, but a safe place is a national organization. There's about 20,000 facilities where kids and teenagers can go if they have any problems. Children and teenagers who are victims of neglect, abuse, they have parents with addictions. They can come to the police department at any time, day or night, and get the help they need. We have set procedures to follow when a child shows them. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. The other thing is we have organized a meet and greet, which I had kind of stolen the idea, but named it Sweet Tea with the Chief. We've got about we have about 20 of these flyers in businesses around town. It's a meet and greet to come. We want the public to come meet me, meet our officers, discuss issues, concerns, anything they may have with us. I'm hoping it'll be a good turnout. We actually yesterday had a couple of organizations volunteer the WIG building for the next one, if this one's a success. So the public can come out, they can have a free glass of tea and talk to us about anything they want to talk to us about. Exactly what we're looking for right now. That's all I got.
Thank you,
I've got one thing, and I told Matt about this morning. Kudos to the police department. accidentally set off the burglar alarm in the pharmacy yesterday morning. And, in 5 minutes, I had one at the window and one on the inside, so they responded quite well, and I'm proud of them for that.
It is right across the street.
Ms. Charlotte.
Just wanted to remind you that we have posted our city election notice. It's in the Star. We have commissioner seats 3 and 4 up for election or re-election, and you have city supervisor for elections, but we have posted all notices required.
All right, any citizens to be heard? I imagine that.
How are you guys?
Good.
All right, I have a couple of little handouts that I'd like to share with you guys, and let's close the loop on all this. Matt, I definitely think you need one of these.
Thank you.
And Tom, you've got one.
I've got one.
There you go. There you go. 2 weeks ago, when I was last here, I mentioned this particular gentleman, Dave Mazzio. I went ahead and pulled some research, and if you go through it, you'll see that Dave Mazzio is one of the people that's associated with Port St. Joe Terminal Services, which is associated with the other gentleman that I mentioned, Charles Dornbush, Gregory Vinnick, and Victor Gatto. And they are all associated with Homeland Fuels and then Palmer Energy. So these people have had a number of different LLCs. And they get into some issues or whatever, they may close down an LLC and then go and create another one. One of the LLCs associated with Victor Gatto is Palmer Energy. And they had gotten a permission to, an air permission. What is it when you put up a biomass plant? Anyway, they got permission to go ahead with that particular biomass plant according to the EPA. The city of Springfield came back later on, was very concerned about it, citizens spoke out about it, and then, of course, Palmer said, well, we've got this permission to do this, and they in turn filed a lawsuit against the city of Springfield, Massachusetts. So my point is, these folks have been here. I know that several of you have encountered these people. From my understanding, after I spoke last Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, Mr. Mazzio showed up at the Port Inn, and I might have talked to Mr. Ashbrook. I did go in and see Mr. Mazzio the next day over at his building, which is on Industrial Road, the old GAC building that they're leasing. I didn't stay long. I just wanted him to know that he isn't here to open up the port. He had some other men sitting with him. I also asked, do you guys know his background? Because he's not here to open up the port. And so after a couple of discussions, I left. But I did present this as well to the Port Authority. They're not interested in doing business with these folks, nor any business that they represent. And then in talking with representatives with St. Joe Company, they've been very clear about their position. They're not interested in doing business with these folks. So, they've been here a while. I don't understand why they keep hanging around, but you can't say you didn't know. And so I think it's important to go ahead and dot the I's and cross the T's, and you've got everything that you need to know.
Anyone else?
briefly introduce myself to everybody who already know me. But I've taken over the president of the board of directors for the Northport St. Joe development. So I'm going to be the spokesperson for that organization as we move forward. And just want to introduce myself. I was waiting on something to be said about the letter for Bolton. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I will become the spokesperson.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Ms. Latham?
Yes, I wanna know, you guys tabled this and you said you need additional information for, the letter, and I need to know what type of information you need.
I'll tell you real quickly what caught my attention was, WIM Associated Incorporated. I don't know anything about it, who's associated with it, who's the president, vice president, secretary, anything. That's what caught my attention. And then I assume, Chester, you're the spokesman for the North St. Joe Project Area Committee. Is that what?
That's correct.
That's what you are. But the WIM Associated Incorporated, I don't know.
That's the consultant firm that we brought into the picture. He's
Right.
been here before. The city worked with him in the past.
Just don't know.
I didn't look at it too. I had
Right.
to look at it.
That-
Well, like I said, we'll bring back that information.
Yeah, or if you would give it to the city manager, and they can put it in our box, and we can get, before the next meeting, we'll have it.
We'll take care of it.
Thank y'all, thank you.
Anything else?
Anyone else? Commissioner Black?
Yeah, one thing, Mayor Pro Tem, if the good folks of Port St. Joe will allow me, I'm gonna run for one more term for my seat on commission. I've enjoyed my 8 years, have gone by fast. I'd like to do one more term, and during that 2-year term, I will say, and I'll need all of you guys' support, if you feel that you can, to support renovation of the Centennial Building. That's gonna be my primary focus.
If we wanna keep you on this board, we just need to keep you laying.
That's your bit.
I'll make it mighty rough for the next 2 years, but anyway. I think I've worked mighty hard on our water system, and I think we're going in the right direction there. And but I think we've got major road, Garrison, Long Avenue, going to be paved. We're finishing up our water. I'd love to see the Centennial Building be someplace we'd be proud of going forward. So that's what I'd like to do, and that's what I'd like to make my announcement.
Just a couple of things. It wasn't under old business, but y'all asked me to go and investigate the parking situation on Reed Avenue. Spoke with Ronnie from the chamber, and we kind of came to a consensus that it might be a good idea to have all the parking spots on Reed be 3-hour parking between the hours of 9 and 5. And that could be for daily, randomly, sporadic, I don't know, however the chief thinks that it'll work. Make it 3-hour parking, that'll stop the business owners from parking on Reed. They can use the side streets. But, that was the best solution we came up with, other than just blasting it out through the chamber blast and hoping that people listen. So if the city wants to take a position on it, that's
One little short comment on that I thought about was if you could get just a small agreement that would say, I've been 411, the undersigned will not allow my employees to park on Reed Avenue, and possibly take that to each individual merchant and see if you can, get them on board before we have to enforce.
sign a pledge.
It's like a pledge, yeah. And then if you can pull it out and say, well, we hope this will work, but your employees are parking on Reed Avenue, we'd like, be a voluntary thing. I just thought about that and see, what do you think about it?
I think that the companies that are violating now, that are parking, it's not violating, they're choosing to park out front. I think they're going to continue to park out front. And it's to their own detriment. That's what I think it's an education problem to teach these business owners.
Well, the problem is they're parking in front of other folks' building and not their own.
Peppers doesn't have enough spots in front of their building for Peppers.
Yeah. So anyway, I just thought maybe if they voluntarily sign something, they might think about not doing it.
That could be a first step.
Okay. Moving on. Anything else, Commissioner?
Yes, one more thing. Actually, two things wrapped up into one. Meeting time. I'm speaking with some of the city staff, they have to, once every 2 weeks, they have to sit here, they come into work early in the morning and they have to sit and listen to us talk until sometimes 8 o'clock. Is there any reason why we can't move these meetings up to 5? So maybe I don't know if this has come up before and there was a public outcry about it, but 5 o'clock to me is no different than 6. It just lets them off a little earlier. And then the second part of that is we rearrange the agenda to let staff speak first, and then they can ask to be excused if they need to. I mean, they're not getting paid any extra to be here these extra 3 or 4 hours.
I see, but I'm gonna hear a lot of people say that.
And that's nothing against you or anything, but I don't have a problem. And I'm gonna step on some toes when I say this, but whether it be the school board, the TDC, the EDC, I feel like any meeting that is held between the hours of 8 and 5, a lot of people I've heard in the past say that's because they don't want the public to show up.
But I think at 5 they're out of here.
Well, at 5, but I mean, you might not be able to get there at 5:30 maybe an option, but at 5 o'clock it'd still be hard, like if you worked out a cake to get in town to, and that would be my only drawback because, it's hard for people, for the first time in a long time, you got a working class up here on this board, and it's hard to get off. And, we all out working, beating the bushes, and trying to get here by 6 o'clock sometimes tough for me. I'm not gonna tell you what kind of bad I took today.
I can tell you.
Anything else, Dave?
No,
Dave,
that is.
I don't have a problem with the 5 o'clock, bumping that up, but rearranging the agenda, I think quite a few times during discussion that I need something from staff, if they're not here, so that would be my only rub against letting staff slip out. If there's something come up in a new business agenda item that I need to ask John, Larry, or Lynn, or Charlotte, or anybody, but I don't have a real problem with 5, but I know a lot of people
Commissioner Thurman? Dave, you have anything?
No, that's it.
Just one thing, we started off the meeting tonight, I'm gonna tell you, I have really been involved out looking and going up on roofs with these kids, these Auburn children that are here, and doing what I could to help them out, but I'm telling y'all, that is a good deal that we are getting, and those kids coming here for our community, and I just want it to be expressed, if you could put anything West in the paper, and just express the way we feel, and I mean, those are some good children, that's a good program, what they're doing for our community, and they're children, anywhere from 14, 15 to 18 years old out here sacrificing their time for people in need, and just, that means a lot. The other thing I want to say is we all, every week, we get our agendas, or we got problems, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm not real privy on, but I can tell you this, I just want to thank staff for being able to pick up that phone. If I have a problem, if I have a question, I can call Jim, Charlotte, Lynn, Larry, John, what have you, and I can get the answer I need. I just want to thank all y'all for and Matt over there. I'm sorry, he was about to cry over there, y'all. Wait a minute, Tom too, Jim, anybody else I missed? But anyway, I just want to thank everyone for the hard work they do, and that's all I got, Mr. Mayor. And I want to say you have done a great job tonight.
Thank you, both, Lord.